to our sixth version of the Edge Talk video blog from Lanner, and today I'm delighted to have a guest presenter from Enea. Lanner is working with Enea for quite some time, specifically on the disaggregated deployment of SD-WAN and universal CPEs. I would like to welcome Carl from Enea. He's based in Sweden. How are you today?
Fine, hi. I'm actually at the office today, even though most of the Swedes work from home these days.
Okay, thank you for making the time. And I'd like you to walk us through a little bit about Enea, the positioning, and what's so special on Enea on the proposition for universal CPEs.
Sure. And I had a few slides. I think you see the first one here. This is, on corporate level. So Enea is consisting of a bunch of different BUs. The common denominator here is that we are all independent software vendor type of software providers, and in many different areas. So from deep packet inspection, we are present in a lot of firewalling and SD-WAN type of solutions with DPI, to core network functions for 5G, 4G, and our traditional business is around real-time operating systems for radio access networks, and then also, of course, our virtualization product, Enea and NFV Access, focusing on open solutions for white box deployment customer premise. And Enea, we're located in Sweden, about 650 employees right now, with offices throughout the world, basically.
And how do you play in the SD-WAN scenario? What's the play for Enea?
Right. So for SD-WAN, the product that I'm focusing on is Enea and NFV Access, which is a virtualization platform and management platform for uCPEs. Basically, we provide the virtualization operating system and management system to create solutions for uCPE based on various components from various vendors, basically. So hardware components are white boxes. VNFs come from different vendors depending on customer choice. And then we have virtualization platform that basically glues the hardware to the VNFs in the solution.
Okay, so you're working with a strong ecosystem as well for the VNF part, or how does it?
Exactly. We have quite a strong ecosystem, mainly focused on SD-WAN and firewalling and routing. That's the main use case that we are addressing with our solution. But we're also expanding into other type of VNFs, particularly in the area of radio access network.
Okay, very good.
And all right, and this is a slide just presenting the product from an overview perspective. The most important thing is the pure play software principle that we have. And basically, in Enea we've taken the position to create a true virtualization platform that really opens up the opportunity to create a zero lock-in and open solution based on many different vendors. Basically, we see hardware, VNFs, orchestration, and virtualization platform as different building blocks to create solutions, and it's up to the customers to choose what the building blocks are. And we come from a embedded systems perspective, so we are really focused on lightweight solutions and characteristics. So we want to utilize small portion of the hardware and leave as much hardware as possible to the VNFs. And the design choice we made there is to remove OpenStack from the equation and focus on the management system based on NetConf, which really opens up the opportunity to create a lightweight solution that is really secure, thanks to the fact that NetConf is secure by design.
Yeah, that's a key element here, right? Because for us as a hardware vendor, everybody is asking for a cost optimized solution, but they don't realize how much resources are needed in order to operate the platform. So it's an interesting approach from Enea to have a lightweight implementation. So that's really interesting for deployment.
Yeah, exactly, and that's where we started with the perspective that hardware percentage of the cost, and really utilizing the hardware to the max is a key. But I also think the fact that picking and choosing what VNFs on the platform is really a way of controlling the cost as well. For instance, we are working with some open source based VNFs to really help customers bring the cost down.
Yeah, I have seen you announce a partnership also with Flexware. I think this is part of that solution case. What do you have, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's one option, but of course, a lot of solutions out there need the commercial solutions because of feature set or different reasons to have a commercial vendor for the VNFs as well.
Right. And then zero-touch provisioning, that's the Enea specific implementation, or is it, how do you...
So zero touch is of course key here, and when you want to deploy a uCPE, typically in a branch office somewhere, you don't typically have people present that can be experts on the installation, and you want to have a really automated installation procedure, and zero-touch provisioning comes in. And here, NetConf actually has a standard. It's called, I think, RFC 8071, call home, NetConf call home. And this is what we implement. So we are providing NetConf implementation also for the zero-touch provisioning, and that's great.
Very good.
So yeah.
And what was the determining factor for Enea to invest in that? Is there any market? What do you have seen? Who's driving this?
Yes, I mean we identified uCPEs and the NFV in general as an interesting market for us, based on the fact that we have a history in networking products and telecom products. We had a lot of experience in this area, networking and in virtualization, that we really thought would benefit a solution in this area, and we see a market that's really growing tremendously, and that's fantastic.
Very good.
All right, I prepared a few slides from a survey we did with heavy reading, and this survey was really focused on on-premise deployment of network functions for enterprises. So we interviewed a number of enterprise IT managers to get some insight into the market and the needs. And we have a few pictures here coming from the survey that I wanted to share with you guys and discuss. So the first one, simple one, we basically asked the different enterprises what about service adoption on-premise, and as a result, you can see that a lot of the enterprises plan or already have deployments of firewall and SD-WAN on-premise as part of their infrastructure solutions. And the reason why we have firewall and SD-WAN in the picture is that the combination of firewall and SD-WAN is really the primary use case for uCPE deployment right now. That's pretty much everyone, most are focusing on as a service.
Yeah, and it's also accelerating now with the COVID-19. There's a lot of demand coming up for for deployments for SD-WAN and of course firewall at the same time. So we're seeing the same thing, where the demand is actually peaking. So
for single home type of deployment, because people need to work from home. Yeah. So the service is kind of squeezed down to a very low end.
Very good.
All right. Okay. And another question is whether or not the enterprise wants to move to managed services or not. I think that the two alternatives really is to do something in-house and manage it in-house, or to rely on a service provider or a managed service provider to take care of the uCPE deployment, SD-WAN deployment. And we did a survey a few years ago, similar question, and the result has actually changed. So we think we see a shift towards more enterprises favoring the microservices approach rather than in-house.
Mm-hmm.
You can see this in the slides. It's quite a lot of the companies here wants to go for a managed type of setup. And the ones, I believe, the ones that are red here, in 20-25%, I think their focus is really to have full control. Maybe they want to avoid dependency to a service provider, and most likely have a very capable IT department that really can take care of this technology.
Yeah, it's probably also the security aspect, because when you deploy multiple 20,000 or what have you devices in the field, how to control the security aspect on it. So we have been building in some security function from a hardware point of view, actually, and I think eventually that will also reach that 21 or 22%, which are today maybe not very likely. Maybe they're changing their strategy once security is proven in the SD-WAN deployment.
Exactly, and especially in certain markets, security is of course the main focus or the main feature that they are worrying about, and taking it in-house is of course an option to take control.
Right. Very good.
Right. This present driving factors for choosing a managed service from an IT department perspective, and here again you see 4 important factors: service reliability, cost savings, of course, lack of internal skills, and single point of contact. I think basically the IT department and the enterprises, they think it is probably more cost efficient and sustainable to have a external vendor providing the service, because they don't have to keep the in-house skills, and there's a lot of technology to take care of, and of course having somebody to address when there are issues 24/7 is a key factor here.
Yep.
What do you say, Sven?
Yeah, so I think it's just the cost savings is a major aspect here. And shifting the IT knowledge from branches into a centralized setup, it's driving this demand going up, actually. So these are really some of the aspects. So large corporations, like with multi-branches and multiple locations, they really rely on this, and they see a major cost savings. Of course, it takes a little bit change of a mindset, because letting control go, it's not always easy for some of the traditional infrastructure, but it will drive up, because the cost and just the time to deployment. The traditional purpose-built appliances, before they've been shipped and deployed, it takes time, and can be weeks for deployments. With doing it software-defined, can be an instant deployment for services, and that will really drive that initiative. That's what we see as well. So interesting setup. So if customers or service providers would like to learn more about the Enea solution running on white boxes, what would be the best approach to get information for that?
I think they should go for the Enea website, enea.com, and on the site there are a number of white papers, the description of the product and the different types of solutions, together with Lanner and together with other vendors. And the key here is really that from an enterprise perspective, choosing vendors, choosing combination of vendors is key, and you will find a broad ecosystem of different vendors that we collaborate with that is easy to choose and combine. And we also have the ambition to, of course, to expand on the number of vendors that we work with. So And the key here is really to have a simple onboarding experience, not only for both hardware and software. And that's why it's so important to use x86 white box, because it's standard and it is very simple to adapt to new hardware and specify hardware that fits the use case.
Yep, very good. And you have, you know, I know you have a couple of deployments already in the field, so it's not the first time that you're deploying this. You know, I know there's a couple of common customers at the same time, so that's good. So I'm appreciate your time for the short video blog, and you know, hopefully we will have some more future good projects together. And thanks for joining me.
Okay. Nice to join you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.